Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel and happy 1 year anniversary to my YouTube channel. I can't believe it's already been a year and honestly I'm half surprised I even made it this far. So for today's video I wanted to throw it back to the first video I ever made for this channel and revamp it. You probably already guessed from the thumbnail, but the first video I ever made for this channel was my original Sona creation video. I initially thought about creating an all-new Sona, but I'm really fond of the original design, so I decided to add on to the one that exists instead, and also make it funny. So have fun watching me memeify my Sona while I talk about the last year on YouTube. So yeah, a year and a couple weeks ago, I had the bright idea to start a YouTube channel, even though I hadn't drawn consistently in years and had no idea how video editing or mics or really anything worked. I had just watched a video that said basically, there's no good time to start, you just gotta start. And I was like, yeah, if I don't do this now, I'm probably never gonna do it, so here we are. It was my intention and remains my intention to use this channel as a journal where I get to track my progress and reflect on trying new techniques and learning new skills. I still have sort of a hard time negotiating social media spaces because it feels like the value of what is created becomes connected to how many views or likes it gets and not what I, the individual, get out of the creation process. So I always try to think about my videos in the journal frame of mind rather than this social media frame of mind. It doesn't always work, of course, and sometimes, yes, I feel really shitty seeing something I worked very hard on get little attention, but at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me, and I'm grateful to anyone who wants to interact as sort of a side bonus. I hope one day I'll get to sort of be that artist that younger people look up to and go, I want to learn how to do that, because those types of people really inspired me to start digital art when I was younger, but I don't think I'm quite there yet, so I'm just going to keep working and improving, and yeah, we'll see. So you're probably seeing me draw some absolutely wild characters and expressions right now. I don't want to talk too much about them because really I want this video to be more of a reflection on other stuff, but I'll give a brief rundown real quick on what I got going on here. Basically, I just wanted to add some extra Sonas so that I could use them in the intros of future videos, and I thought, why not make them slightly weird and unhinged? Because, you know, I have that ability, why not use it? So we've got the dramatic crying on the floor one, the sunglasses side-eye one, the standing one that's kind of giving hell no, that's the one I'm working on now, and the two pointing soy face ones, which I guess you haven't really seen the other ones, but I'll get to them later. The cat one, the cat soy face pointing one, I can't take credit for. My friend drew that on a newspaper like a year and a half ago as a character of my cat Mel. Mel doesn't really look like this. I'll put a picture up of her right now, but this is very much her energy and it's such a fun drawing that I felt I had to include it. So thanks to my friend for that one. I love Mel very much, so I'm glad she makes a couple of appearances on my channel via the Sonas. These were very much brain-off drawings for me, so I don't have much to say about them as regards to like the design process. I just wanted to draw something funny. But I hope you enjoy the lining, coloring, and shading process as I yap on about other stuff. Alright, so let's look at some of my favorite illustrations from the last year. If y'all have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that my first series of character designs were the ones based on flowers. They were sort of like kind of D&D-esque roles plus a flower. The first character of that series, the one based on lilacs, is one of my favorites. She's from end of May, so yeah, right at the start of this channel, a year and change ago. I think I've definitely designed better characters, but there's something about this first one that I really like coming back to. It was one of those drawings that kind of sprung off the page in my sketchbook. Like, the original planning was so easy, which is not an experience I have often. As for the painting process, this was one of the first times I really started to develop the style that I more or less have now, and I really like the way the shading of the face and the makeup turned out. The next illustration that I really like from the last year is this one from mid-July as a part of my Elden Ring series. I'm really fond of the Elden Ring series in general, but I wanted to pick this one out in particular because I thought it was really fun to mess around with proportions and really lean into darker fantasy aesthetics, which I'm generally a really big fan of. Like, if you know me, I love Elden Ring, I love dark fantasy, I love fantasy novels, all that, so this was definitely a drawing for me, for sure. This was also one of the first characters I started to develop lore around and think more broadly about how design elements can affect a character's story and vice versa, and that's become a really integral part of my design process as a whole. Now, whenever I create new characters, sometimes creating the stories is just as fun as drawing, and I wouldn't have realized that if I hadn't started this channel, so yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Incidentally, I'm just realizing that Art Fight is just around the corner in July, so hopefully I'll get to play around with other people's OCs, my own OCs, next month, which should be pretty exciting. The next two pieces I really like are from September, which I think is where my character sheets really popped off. Like, not only the character themselves, but also the little elements that go into the sheet and give better insight into who the character is, so like the portraits, the swords, the little emblems, things like that. The top one was heavily inspired by a web serial I was reading at the time called Pale Lights, which I'm still reading and need to finish, low-key. Oops. Kinda dropped off that one, sorry. And with this drawing, I really wanted to incorporate pirate/duelist aesthetics. And I think I did a good job. I had a lot of fun, certainly with the peacock cloak, so overall, I just love it. The next character I really like because I think the pose is really weird, and I liked the bug/demon elements. Her sheet is also one that I really like, and honestly, as I'm reflecting on these two characters, it's really making me want to do more illustrations like this, so, you know, we shall see, I guess, see what the next year brings. The last two drawings I wanted to showcase from the past year are from 2025. The first is from the video where I drew characters based on several countries' folklore, and this one in particular is a mixture of the Rusalka from Slavic culture. I think specifically I chose Polish Rusalka because I was playing The Witcher at the time, and Mothman from America, West Virginia, I think, pretty sure. I just think this is a really cute style. This was one of those illustrations that I got to experiment with a more simplified, cartoony style, and I think she turned out the best of the three characters that I made for this, so I wanted to include her here. And finally, there's this Land of the Lustrous illustration I did in March. Because there's a lot of gem textures in Land of the Lustrous, for a really long time, it's been a piece of media that I've loved, but been too afraid to draw. But I finally did it, and it turned out pretty good. So, more than anything, I think this piece is a testament to the fact that consistent practice and persistence does in fact make you a better artist. Who would have guessed? Wow, 1 year on YouTube, guys, let's go, woohoo! So yeah, I've made 45 videos over the last year, and a lot of illustrations I'm proud of, but these were the 6 that I wanted to highlight in particular as some of my favorites. Here's to 45 or more videos in the coming year. Woo! I honestly don't really have any concrete goals for the next year. I'd like to say that I want to be more consistent, and I'll certainly try, but the reality is that sometimes parts of the year are busier than others, and it's not always possible for me to post every week, even if I'd really like to. I always want to maintain a pretty healthy relationship with drawing and art, so if there's a week I don't feel like I can do anything creative, then I probably won't have a video that week. Yeah, that's just how it goes. I'd also like to experiment more with regular streams. I sort of feel okay about shorts, so maybe I'll post more shorts, we shall see. But other than that, I just want to keep this as a space where I can continue improving my art, trying new things, and engaging in the media that inspires me, so I'm sure you'll be seeing lots more character designs from me as well as fan art this year. I also am hoping that my channel gets to the point where I get more follower input, because I really would love to make tutorial videos or request videos or things like that if anybody is interested in my process or how I do certain things. I do like to talk about those things, and I could definitely go more in depth on them if anyone wanted to. So that's kind of my thoughts, my initial goals for the next year. we shall see. It's all, something's gonna happen, that's for sure, and who knows what. Now that I'm getting closer to the end of this video, I'd like to end with the Digital Monkey special, which is Book Corner. Woohoo! What have I been reading in the past 3-ish months that I haven't really been active on YouTube? I think the book that I really want to recommend is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I don't often read urban fantasy, but this was a recommendation from a friend, and I ended up really liking it because I think it paints small town America in a both realistic way, but also like a mysterious and fun way, sort of the way like Stranger Things does small town America, but I think it's modern day, so not exactly like the 80s. Basically, it's in Kentucky, in a city that's pretty much economically devastated because they can't mine coal anymore, so post-industrial little town. And there's a mysterious house in the woods that the main character is dreaming of, and she sees lights in the house in her dreams, and sort of like it's her journey of exploring both the town, but also the town's history and the history with this house. And it all unravels in a really interesting mystery, which is sort of horror, sort of fantasy. So I'd really recommend it to anyone who likes those sort of things. Once again, Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. And I think that leaves me at the end of the video. So here are my finished, really stupid, complete new Sona reactions. I'm sure you'll see them in the intros of more of my videos coming up. I hope you liked it, and once again, happy 1 year! Yay! So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!